Chief Thomas.
How you doing?
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Good. Nice to meet you, and nice to see you again. I don't think we've been formally introduced, but
Yes.
we've really been seeing each other about in the community, so
Yes. Right.
I'm really happy. Hello, my name is Susannah Johnson Malbreaux, publisher of the Southern View magazine. Today I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing Mr. Reggie Thomas, who has been appointed the Interim Police Chief of Lafayette Parish by City Parish President Joe Robideau. So, Mr. Thomas, that's an exciting, appointment. We're really excited for you, and congratulations on being appointed the Interim Chief. Why don't you tell the viewing audience just a little bit about yourself, where you're from?
I'm born and raised in New Orleans.
New Orleans,
Yes.
okay.
I spent at least about, I would say 18 years in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Left there, I joined the Air Force. Between active duty and reserve time, I spent about 10 years in the Air Force. Came to Lafayette at about 25 years ago.
Okay.
I've been in law enforcement for 25 years. And during those 25 years in law enforcement at this agency, I pretty much had been into every department that there is to be. I am married.
Okay.
I have a daughter. My wife and daughter are both attorneys.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and so that's pretty much my family. During Hurricane Katrina, because I'm from New Orleans,
Right.
so my mother came down to Lafayette to join.
Okay.
So,
Alright.
so she lives here now, and that's been pretty much exciting for me that she did come down here.
Okay, all right.
So I have family now.
Okay, no grandchildren yet?
None yet, but I definitely want it.
We keep our fingers crossed, about that.
Yes.
That's wonderful. So what made you decide to go into law enforcement? Because I know you said you've been in it for a very long time. Did that start while you were in the Air Force?
Yes.
Okay.
It started in the Air Force. I had a little training in reference to security police.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for a little while, and I really became interested in law enforcement at that time. Once getting out of the military, an opportunity came where I was able to get on at this agency, which what brought me to Lafayette. I looked around, and this was like the best agency in the state, pretty much, as far as the benefits and what they offered, the number of police officers. And then when I came to the community, I decided this is where I wanted to be.
This is where you wanted to be.
Yes.
Well, that's good. Well, we know that the appointment for the interim chief is just that. It could be anywhere from 6 months to a year while the search goes on for a full-time chief. But as the interim chief, have you had a chance to make some decisions on what you'd like to see happen in that 6 months to a year time frame?
Yes, you have to realize after 25 years,
Right.
okay, I know this department probably better than most people do. So it's not a training phase for me. I don't have to sit down and I don't have to say, well, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I think I'm going to do. I know what I want to do. I've saw times where we need changing. This city right now, I believe, has many problems. Just the homicide rate. Last year we had 20 homicides.
Wow.
And that's the most in about 30 years, if you want me to be honest.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So we have 5 still open murders, Things like that I look at and I want to do something about immediately. I plan on doing a task force in reference to looking at these homicides, In a city of our size, we should be able to solve these homicides. I mean, of course you can't solve every homicide, but we will fight and we will try. We need the community. And so another thing I'm planning on doing is what we call COPS, that's community-oriented policing. Okay, I'm going to get about 4 cops, which is a team. Whenever we have a problem, we're going to look at problems and we're going to try to solve the problems immediately. I think one of the things that has been happening is we go through so many chains of so many different people, and by the time we get to the citizen, who I look at as the customer that we're serving, it's 3 or 4 days later. So now they're disappointed at the very beginning that we didn't do what they thought we were supposed to do. So we have to talk to the citizens, and we have to first of all, get good customer service.
Yeah.
Once we get good customer service, then we need to solve the problems that they have.
Right.
And I'm just focused on that right now. I'm focused on the crime rate. I'm focused on community policing. So you will see some changes right away.
And you know, we like to think that we live in one of the safest cities. Unfortunately, it isn't, mainly because of some of the things that you're talking about. But having us to be safe, we look at the police department, you know, as that institution for the most
Yes.
part that will come out and keep us safe. If you guys
Yes.
do the best that you can. So how many, I mean, I know you've been in there in the law enforcement for a very long time, you know, and why do you think the crime rate is so high at this particular point in time? What's some factors?
What a crime rate is, I believe it might be, it might be about what it was last year or whatever the case may be. But we also have to look at violent crime rate, you know, and I believe that possibly went up a little bit. I think with the juvenile problems we have, you know, kids watching rap videos and stuff like that and going out trying to act that way, you know. I think, you know, we have to do more in the community. We have to work with the juvenile. We have to, as police officers, we have to get in the community. We have to meet with people. You know, one of the things in this next 6 months for sure, I will never turn down a meeting. I told my wife that. She said, you're going to be very busy. I said, I will never, if I can meet with you, I want to sit and talk to you. You know, because I think if we talk, I think I can make a difference. But if we don't talk, then you know, we won't make a difference. Right. So it's all about meeting with people. It's about talking to people, and more than anything, it's about respecting
right.
people.
It's respecting. You know, I know, and I don't know if I've seen too much of it before. You know, they had like the police that would patrol certain neighborhoods. Is that still going on?
Yes. We have different precincts. We have 4 precincts in the city, and the officers are assigned to different areas, and they patrol just that area, you know. And a lot of times, you know, it's not always the officers, but it starts with the officers. Right. So a lot of times you got to encourage them, wind the window down, talk to people, get out of the vehicle. You know, we have reports and stuff, you know. So it's my job to look at ways that they can get out of the vehicle, because we do have a lot of calls. Some officers go from call to call to call. So how can I allow them to get out the vehicle, to walk the neighborhoods, to talk to kids, and to do the things that's proactive instead of reactive.
Right. And you know, I'm sure that is one of the things, because years ago, you know, the folks in the community knew the police officers, the police officers knew the folks in the, you know, they knew the parents of some of the juveniles and could talk, you know, one-on-one to them. But, you know, it's kind of twofold, you know, I think, and you can, you know, kind of elaborate on that. When juveniles or folks see the police going through their neighborhoods, you know, they're antsy, they're, you know, not quite sure and comfortable when they see the police, because they think the police are probably there, you know, looking for somebody, as opposed to just making a friendly pass through the neighborhood. I mean, how do you see that?
One thing I look at is, when I look at my police department, we haven't did a good job of hiring minorities. Okay, we have about 17 or 18% of minorities on this police department. We have 32% minorities that we police. We should at least mirror, the police should mirror the community that it polices. So one of the things that I'm really looking at strongly is we need to hire some minorities. We need, you know, we need to sit at the table and we need to talk about this, you know. It is a problem. It's you know, it's when you police people that look like you, then, you know, people, the community, some parts of the community, you know, you can do more sometimes. Right. You know, I'm not saying in every case, but I'm saying it has been shown that the police department's supposed to mirror the people that they in the community. Right. And that's something that I'm looking at. That's something that has to change. and that's something that I'm a spearhead and make sure that does change, in our recruiting, the way we recruit, where we recruit.
Right.
We need to go to the HBCs and we need to recruit there.
Yeah.
These are some things that we need to sit at the table and talk about. Some people don't like to talk about it because they look at it and they say, well, that's a hard conversation. Let's stay away from that conversation.
Well, it's not a hard conversation. It's a fact. I mean,
yes.
We're looking to accomplish some of the things that you're talking about.
Yes.
It's a real thing.
Yes.
It's real.
So I believe that, we have to start with the police department, then we get into the community, and we do the things that we're supposed to do in the community, and then everything will come together. I tell a story like when I used to work homicide. I used to be in homicide for a long time. We didn't have the cell phones. They'll see me on the scene. I go on the scene and I'm investigating. When I get back to the office, I might have 4 or 5 calls saying, this guy did it.
Mm-hmm.
This guy. We don't get those calls
You
anymore.
don't get those calls.
And when you don't get those calls anymore, you got to look at why we're not getting those calls.
Right.
Oh, do we not know anybody anymore? Why are we not getting the calls? So I want to get those calls again.
Right.
So when you get those calls, that's because the community trusts. Community know. They see you around. You're in. I live in the same neighborhood as everybody else. I be in the same stores with everybody else. I go to the same church with everybody else. So these are the things that we have to get done, and these are the things that I'm focused on. And it starts with the community for me, and it ends with the community.
We're talking about hiring. Do you find, or what do you think is maybe some of the reasons that African Americans aren't applying for the police department? Because you can have the job openings, but maybe, folks are they not aware that, the openings are there? Do they feel that they're not qualified, or some of the qualifications challenging for some of the folks in the African American community?
What I really feel? I really feel is the media, the way the police is portrayed nowadays is totally different way back how they used to be portrayed.
Yeah.
They used to be portrayed in a classroom, or you'll see an officer. Now when you see an officer, most of the time it's some type of controversy,
Right.
Shootings or this and that. And when you think about it, it's always 90% of the time involving minorities is what you're seeing on TV.
Right.
So when you see that, minorities then say, well, I don't want to be a part of that. That's not what I want to be a part of. But if we show that, look, we're different in Lafayette. We're different. Police work is not what you see on TV, And a lot of times I tell people that, that's such a small number. That's way less than 1% of police officers that get indicted for something or whatever. When you look at school teachers, or this, they might get arrested for something or whatever. But when it's the police, yes, it is. So I think we have to make our own news in Lafayette. We have to make people realize that, hey, look, Lafayette is the police. Like 25 years ago when I came here, Lafayette was the police. I came to this community. I was like, yes, this is where I want to be. And the police department at that time was about 35% minorities at that time. Yes.
Well, I'm sure, going through with the community policing and you reaching out, to the community and meetings, that would be an opportunity to open the door. And then, like you said, the recruitment process is really what's important because, if you don't let folks know that you have the opening and then you don't search outside of the area, then you're limiting, you're limiting yourself. So we were talking about, the way the media captures and focuses, I would say like a lot of negative, and that's unfortunate, but, there have been a number of stories talking about police brutality right here in Lafayette, with the police department. How do you plan to bridge that gap between the community and, the police department with the African American community? I mean, it's a challenge, but, what do you have in mind for that?
It starts with training. I was a training director for like 6 years at this department. Mm-hmm. So it starts with training. It starts with training our officers how to respect cultural diversity. I'm going to bring in several classes. And then we have to go into the community and we have to let them know that, hey, look, we're respecting everybody. We're doing what we can do. So once you can bridge the gap and everybody come together, and lastly, if any brutality whatsoever happens, then I will take action on that for sure. And the last thing, I'm definitely I'm hoping the end of the month, maybe, body cameras is a must. Okay, we had funds for body cameras for some time now. We have been trying different body cameras and doing different maintenance and stuff like that. But we can do that forever.
Right.
You know, we need to stop. We need body cameras because body cameras does.
It's truthful.
Yes, it helps the officer as far as, and it helps. You know, if I get somebody come in and say, look, the officer did this. If I can look at a video and say, oh, well, no, that's not what happened, then that solves the problem. You know, so the community now trusts that, hey, we have a video. If you want to look at the video, you can come look at the video. You know, I got to open the policy, transparency. You know, if it's not a criminal case, of course, if it's a criminal case, then we have to go through the proper procedures. So body cameras to me, as an investigator, I was an investigator for almost 8 years. As an investigator, you want all the facts. You don't want just, you know, a lot of times you see camera phones. Okay, but that's not where it starts, and that's not where it ends.
Yeah,
you know,
they don't get the very beginning.
No. So I want the whole story.
And then you know, when you say that, it's interesting that you say that because a lot of folks turn those phones over to like the media.
Yes.
The media plays that little clip.
Yes.
And then it already changes the minds of
Yes.
people, you know, and oh well, this is what happened. Except like you said, they didn't get to see the beginning.
Yes.
And they didn't get to see the
Yes.
ending. So it's not reliable too.
Exactly. So we want the whole story before we make a decision on anything. So, you know, the body camera, we dealing with different vendors or whatever, but we want to make a decision really quick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sign the paperwork, we're gonna have body cameras.
Right.
That's something that I will do within the first month or two.
Right.
Awesome.
Well, you know, and I like what you said too, you know, because as you talk about bridging that gap between, let's say, the community as a whole and the police department, it's about trust.
Yes.
It's about respect.
Yes.
And I like the part about the diversity training because every organization, you know,
Yes.
goes through some type of diversity training, and that's because we're so many different cultures, and you know, at the end of the day, it's about everybody respecting everybody. I mean, it's TIM like it's real. It's too bad we can't go back to just respecting people for who they are and not the color of their skin. You know, and it poses all these challenges. You know, so you know, having said that, you know, what advice can you give to you know, the folks in the community when they're stopped by the police? You know, I'm driving along and for whatever reason here comes these, you know, sirens, you know, and you know, I'm being pulled over. You know, what advice do you give to folks when they're pulled over like that?
I expect my police officers to be professionals. And when you're a professional, you get out and you treat everyone with respect. So I would give advice that the driver, no matter, you might be angry or whatever, but treat the officer with respect. Right. As long as you treat the officer with respect, I can assure you he will treat you with respect. Yeah. So just, and if you want to argue the ticket, we have procedures where you can go to court and you can do things. On the side of the road is not the place. You know, so if you don't agree with it, I mean, you might express to him, I don't agree with it, and if he writes the ticket anyway, sign the ticket, and you know, you have other options, other things that you can do. Yeah. Now, at all times, the officer should respect you, the officer should be professional to you, by all means. And it goes back to when I talked to you about the body cameras earlier. We wouldn't even be having half the conversations we've been having or half the complaints we are having if we had body cameras a long time ago. And like I said, I can't blame the council because the council has provided us with the funds to get body cameras. Right. You know, it's just been such a long delay with you know, testing and stuff like that. But the way I look at things, you can test all day. Right. But you have to realize that no matter what you purchase, it's upgrades. It's going to be upgrades. Right. So you're never going to get the perfect thing, or if you get the perfect thing, then something's going to come out next week better. Right. So we need body cameras, and we will get body cameras.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking on it, just to touch like on with gun violence. Where do you? What's your feeling about folks getting or having background checks done before folks can get, a firearm?
I agree with some type of background, but I also agree, I must tell you, with people being able to protect their homes.
Right.
I tell, but I believe that every person should have a weapon in their house to protect their home. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really believe that, and I believe that because now I do believe that you have to be a person that's responsible and do things that you need to do, especially if you have young kids. So you have to familiarize yourself with the weapon, go to the range or do things like that. I don't think you just gun shows. I don't think you just go there and just buy a gun and no background checks or nothing like that. You have to have some type of paperwork that you fill out and some type of way of checking.
Right.
But as far as I hear people say, take all the guns away, or I don't think nobody ever say that. I don't think nobody even want that. You have to be able to protect yourself. And I really believe that a man or a woman should be able to protect their family. I mean, it's your house. If somebody come in and you need to protect your house, you need more like my mom. You need more than a broom. Nowadays, my mama used to have a broom at the side of the door. And she used to say, let them come in here. I mean, you need a little more than a broom.
Yeah. Well, without, a weapon, you look, to put your hands on whatever it is that you think that, can protect yourself. But I think you're right. I do feel that folks, should have background checks, and they shouldn't be able to just go like on the black market or whatever and, just pick up, a weapon. That's how you end up with folks that have it. And then I really believe too, like you were saying, that folks should be trained and they should be responsible, for having that gun. I mean, the slightest incident, and I heard a couple of stories about, where, hey, parent had the gun, they were in the house cleaning it, they ended up getting interrupted, had to leave, left the gun there, a child goes there, picks up the gun, and, unfortunately, shoots themselves. And, you hear stories and stories like that. And do you think that's probably one of the reasons why people think, well, folks shouldn't have a gun, but it's about responsibility?
Yeah, of course. A lot of people had things happen in their life, and they make decisions from that. And I can't even imagine losing a child,
Right.
So, of course, you're going to say, well, never a gun or this or that, But, no matter what, a gun don't kill, people kill with the gun, so you have to, but you have to be responsible. You have to lock your gun up. It's things like that you must do, and you must train yourself with your gun. I mean, be proficient with the weapon. Don't just get a weapon and just put it away and you're not proficient at all with your weapon. So I totally, we're finding so many guns nowadays on juveniles on the street. Okay, and it's becoming such a major problem, and it comes from people having weapons in their cars and not locking their cars, and they go in and burglarize and they take the gun. It's that simple. That is one of the biggest problems we have right now. That we get guns off a kid or whatever, and we run it back, and it comes from a car burglary or somebody maybe didn't even know their gun was missing because they leave their door open. So we run different programs about locking your car doors. So we're trying to put that word out there. So be more responsible if you're gonna have a gun, and that's all we're saying. But also get the gun the right way, of course.
Right. Do you guys have like a a cop show or something here in Lafayette, like on LC, where you guys could talk about what's going on in the police department? And that would be an opportunity to be engaged.
That might be something we look at, like a EOC show.
Right.
Matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up. That I have been thinking about different things. Maybe we can go on and we can do. I've been doing different radio stations and talking to people. I want to get the word out that hey, Lafayette. I want Lafayette to change. And I think we need to change. I think we could do a better job in some things we do, but it's going to take not only the police, it's going to take the community. So if I can't get out and speak to the community, one of the things is, I don't want to be a chief that gets stuck in my office.
Right.
And what we call a micromanager.
Right.
Yeah, you never see the chief.
Yeah.
The people don't even know how the chief look.
Right.
He gets off and he goes back to wherever he lives, out of the community, out of Lafayette a lot of times. So I don't want to be known as that type of chief at all. I want to be the type of chief that people see me at the grocery store and know my name and shake my hand and things like that.
That's important.
Yes.
To people. That's one of the things that again, it helps to bridge the gap.
Yes.
Especially if they get out to see the chief.
Yes.
I spoke to the chief.
Yes.
The chief knows my name.
Yes.
So that's some good things. So I wish you a lot of luck. And the best. And I know, like we were talking about, it's an interim,
Yes.
Position. But they will have like a formal, search. But I would like to, think, and I'm sure the folks in the community would love for the next chief of, the police department for Lafayette Parish be, Reginald Reggie Thomas.
Yeah.
That would be, the thing. So anything that we can do, to help in that regard. I'm going to give, a couple of little things about the program, but I'll let you give some closing comments, and if you'd like to share with the audience, why do you think, or that you can be like the best, police chief in Lafayette, we'll do that.
Okay.
So it's been an interesting, very relaxing. We're kind of rolling in on
Yes.
the chairs, but I'm, so glad I've had the opportunity to interview Chief Thomas. You can view this on the Southern View website. That's www.thesouthernview.wordpress.com. And you can also search for us on Facebook. It's been a pleasure. I'll let you give some closing comments and just let everybody know why you need to be our next police chief.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm a 25-year law enforcement veteran. I attended the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia. I'm currently the president of the Louisiana chapter for the FBI National Academy. I have been in every division in the police department. That includes the training director, the field training officer. I did several years as one of the major detectives, meaning that I handle homicides for about 8 years. I'm dedicated to this community. I live in this community. I go to church in this community. So because I know the police department, because I know this community, I think I would do a great job as the next chief of police. Like I said earlier, this is an interim position. The mayor has tapped me to lead this department. This is the department that's on a very high level. This department has some great officers. So I know the problems that we have in the community. I know the problems we have with the police department. I plan on getting those problems solved immediately. So I thank you for the opportunity. I would ask the community to support me, and you will see me out there. I will not be a police chief that sits in the office. I will be a police chief that's in the community and that's shaking hands and that's making a difference. So I just want to make a difference between the police department, the community, and for my family. So thank you.